In today's video, we're going to rethink Hotlink Protection for your Joomla site. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and thanks for tuning in to Maintenance Monday number 114 here on the Basic Joomla Tutorials channel. Yes, hello, Vinny in chat. He says, happy birthday, Tim. It is my birthday today, and yeah, thank you for that. I turned 54 today. Starting a little bit late today because of construction out in front of the house. Well, actually, it's not because of that, but I wanted to tell you there's construction out front of the house. I was just late. So we might hear some noise later on if they start up the machines again. Last week we were looking at Hotlink Protection, and basically what that is that you could turn it on in your web hosting if you have cPanel web hosting. Maybe other web hosting control panels have that as well. And you can keep people from directly using your images in their website. So unless the call for the image is coming from a URL that's on your account, nobody else can use it. And the stream told me it was scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern time. Wow. Anyways, we'll see what happens. I just created the stream now. Anyway, so what happens is you can turn on Hotlink Protection so people can't use your bandwidth. I mean, if they saved your image and put it on their site, you can't do anything about that. Well, I guess you could try to get them to take it off. But if they are using the image that's on your hosting, Hotlink Protection will stop it. But what we saw last week, and thanks to Vinny for bringing this up because I hadn't anticipated it, was that if you have Hotlink Protection on in cPanel, or using it, as I've seen in other things as I've looked deeper into this, your Open Graph images will not show up. So, you know, when someone shares a page on your site to Facebook and it shows an image that you've selected to represent your page, or perhaps on Twitter, those things don't show up because basically when Twitter tries to show those images or see those images or get those images, Hotlink Protection says, no, 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 no. Ain't got no time for that. You can't have that. Only we can use that. Now, if you have a site that is not, you're not concerned about social media sharing, then Hotlink Protection will be fine for you. But if you want your sites to look nice when they're shared on social media, and I think that's the majority of us, you do not want to use Hotlink Protection. So I thought we would talk about that a little bit, and I thought we would talk about that a little bit today. There are some things that you can do to stop sites from using your links, and so from using images directly from your site. And we're going to talk about that today. But mostly I wanted to go on because last week I said, yeah, use Hotlink Protection. And then maybe many of you had, some of you had just tuned out or stopped watching, which is fine, before we got into the meat of the thing about Open Graph images. All right. So Leila, do I pronounce that right? Phil Taylor's cooking, but he says happy birthday. Thank you, Phil. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name. I've tried it twice. Maybe there's a third way. I hope I think that's what came to my mind. And feel free to type in the pronunciation. So let's turn our attention over to the computer here. Head on over to basicjoomla.com/giveaways. Remember, win something every month, or have a chance to win something every month by signing up for the newsletter. And I still have to pick a winner for this month and send that newsletter out. But yeah, mysites.guru, Joomla Shack, JoomDev, J2 Store. I love old time radio. And you will have some fun stuff there. Now, I'm going to share this link with you. I referred to it last week, I think, late in the stream as well. I also forgot to mention early in the stream last week that it was John Mulholt that gave me the idea for this topic. So I appreciate that, John. Of course, we know him on the channel here. He's the creator of Hotameta, which is a great way to get your Open Graph information in the core of Joomla. So when we look at this, basically, if you're not going to turn Hotlink Protection on your hosting account, but you have one particular site that is really being persnickety about using your bandwidth, you can block that site by itself. And I think that that's a good way to go. When you read this article further down, Leela, okay, there's the pronunciation. Thanks, Leela. So when you scroll down on this page, you will see they give you a sample of some rewrite conditions, some code to put in your htaccess file. Your htaccess file in Joomla, if you renamed your htaccess.text to .htaccess with no ending, when a web page is called for from your site, it looks down through the rules to see what it should do, how things should be rewritten, if things have been changed, or all kinds of information. And you have these things that are called rewrite conditions. And basically, a rewrite condition is sort of like an if statement. So if this is true, and here there's a very complex one, if this is true, all these are true, then do this, which here, what they have is rewrite JPEG, JPEG, PNG, GIF, SVG, MP4, MP3, PDF. Just rewrite those and just don't let, just take that off. Don't let people see that, and it won't work for them. And this example here is how to turn on, we looked at last week, how to turn on, Hotlink Protection without using in cPanel, but just using htaccess. But what this would do here is would allow you to let certain sites still to see your images. So for instance, if you would put your site in here, so let's say basicjoomla.com, if the site asking for the image is not your site, and it's not Google, and it's not Bing, and it's not Yahoo, then change the file endings for each of these file types, and then people won't be able to steal them. They'll effectively show up as broken. The problem is with Open Graph, we would also need to add Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any other ones that are out there. But here's the issue. Does Facebook use a URL with the word facebook.com in it, or the URL, the TLD, facebook.com in it, to get the images for Open Graph? Maybe it uses fb. something. Who knows? And maybe that will change. So what I found in looking into this was that it was just going to be super complicated to learn all of the URLs that you had to give permission in order to pull for Open Graph. And it was just really, the purpose of our sites is to get content on it for people to see it, not to just be constantly delving into the back end machinery of social media sites so that an image can be presented. So I think the better approach is not to try to allow certain ones to have access to use your images and as hosted on your site, so which would use your bandwidth, but instead is to block certain ones that you want to block. And so to do that, what you want to do is change a rule around. And let me just copy this here. And I'm going to open up a new tab over here in a Notepad++ page. And we're going to put that code in here. And so here's what we would want to write. And again, always remember that I suggest don't work on your htaccess file using an extension in Joomla that lets you edit it. Because if you have a typo or something's broken, you'll get locked out of your site. Now, you can do that if you know how to get into your htaccess file through the file manager of your web hosting control panel. If you don't know how to do that, or if you have a site that someone else built for you and you're a little bit unfamiliar about how to use the file manager, get to it into your control panel in your web hosting, you need to figure that out. You should have that information anyways, because that is your site, that is your hosting. If you don't have that access, maybe someone's put their site on their hosting, you might want to rethink that, because if something happens to them and or their account and you don't have access to it, maybe you don't have backups, then you're going to be in a bad way. So you always want to have control over the stuff for your website, or you always want to be paying someone to manage your website and your digital resources, so that they're giving you the information so if something happens, you can take it to someone else. I do that for a number of clients. When you add things to htaccess, it can go really hinky fast. So what we want to do here is change. I'm going to take a couple of lines here, these 3 lines, and we would change this. Rewrite condition. Let's take out this first line too. We would say this. Or rewrite if the referrer, now this exclamation mark means is not. So originally it says if the referring site, the site asking for your image is not your site, then rewrite it. By taking out this exclamation mark, we are telling it to say if it is your site, don't allow the image to show. Now you wouldn't do that to yourself, but here's the thing: if someone is stealing from you, all right. So if the referrer is, if stealingbandwidthfromu.com is trying to use your image, then rewrite all of these files so they can't have them. It'll just show up as broken. They can't get them. And that will allow you site by site to block people from stealing your bandwidth without this whole complicated matter that came up last week that was discovered, that Open Graph images get broken by Hotlink Protection. And of course, in your htaccess file, and for those of you that may not know how to do this, we'll do this afterwards after I sign off the first part. We'll go in and I'll show you how to add this in your file manager, because I know sometimes sometimes there's instructions online and it's like, just do this, and someone who doesn't know how to gets kind of jammed. So if you wanted to add another site, you would just copy that, you would just copy this line, put another one on there, and you would put another site. Now, for those of you who are wondering, well, how do you find out if a site is stealing your bandwidth? Watch Maintenance Monday number 113, last week's, and we get into that as well. We talk a bit about Hotlink, how to turn on, but I show you how in some of the stats areas of your web hosting, you can see sites that are perhaps calling for images. So there's quite a bit. It's quite a bit that we talk about in the chat afterwards. Oftentimes it's helpful, and other times it's just fun. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure that anybody that saw that last week that I said, yeah, turn on Hotlink Protection, it does break Open Graph images. And if you don't want that to happen, because I don't want that to happen, then don't use Hotlink Protection that you see as it is in cPanel, but do apply some of the, and we'll talk about another thing you can do next, but do apply another htaccess rewrite rules to block some sites. And then I'll repeat a really cool, funny prank type thing that you can do right after I sign off. For those of you that are leaving now, though, if that's enough information for you, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support of this channel. And I hope that you will subscribe. I hope I earned a subscription in this video. If I did, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and don't forget to set your devices to receive those notifications. So, for those of you that are leaving now, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless. And for those of you who stay, let me just repeat the fun prank thing that you can do. Don't forget that if you find a site that is pulling one of your images or a file off of your server, you can, first of all, make a copy of that file, rename it, and then relink on your site to the new file that's renamed. That leaves the old file in place. The next thing that you do is make a new file and give it that same name and upload it. And so if it's a PDF file that they're stealing, you can put a whole advertisement for all of your services in it. If it's an image that they're stealing, you can change that image to even just to a blank image. Or you could change it to, I gave you the example last week of someone that was using a monster truck picture that was on one of my sites for their avatar, and I changed it to a little tricycle. And so everywhere that they were on this monster truck site or truck site, they had a little tricycle for an avatar. So that's something else that you can do that is fun. Vinny says, can you turn on Hotlink Protection through htaccess, but allow Facebook? You're missing a W in Twitter, Vinny. Twitter or other social media platforms. I think that you can. I didn't try that because the other thing that I found too about Hotlink Protection when I got reading up on it, in preparation for today was that, for instance, Cloudflare offers Hotlink Protection. So if you're using a content delivery network or different setups, they have different ways of handling it. And so, for instance, you can put images in one folder in Cloudflare, I believe it was, and those are allowed to be pulled by social media. But then you'd have to make that all specific URL. It just becomes so complicated with all the different options and possibilities that I think it's probably, for me, I just thought, oh man, it's just not worth it. You could experiment. No worries, Vinny. I thought it was funny. You could experiment and allow Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But again, like I said, let's say that Facebook.com is, you allow that. But what if they have fbgrabber.com or something like that, or some tool or some other URL that might not work? It just seems to me overload to try to figure out all those things, because then you have to weigh how much bandwidth is getting stolen. And if it's a lot, you'll be able to see it in your stats, and you'll be able to either change those files to prank them, or else you'll be able to just block them. And so in this case, I think it's a lot easier just to block the people that are doing it. I suppose that someone that really wanted to use Hotlink Protection, if they had a massive problem and wanted to make sure that Facebook, that social media was allowed to take their images, you could figure that out. I didn't want to bother to do that. If someone really wants me to, I could probably experiment a bit, or maybe someone could experiment with that and we'll revisit and say, hey, if you have Hotlink Protection on, here's the htaccess to use for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, WhatsApp. Does WhatsApp even do thumbnails yet? I don't know. Just other things like that. So I just reached the point for me where it's like, oh man, this is so many options, so many possibilities with CDNs and rules and all these other things. I thought, okay, I just want to let everyone know, maybe rethink using Hotlink Protection. It really depends. The other thing too is, I think bandwidth, I don't know what bandwidth is like restrictive for hosting these days, because a lot of, because I have my own server and host my own sites and host my client sites, and I just I just run the server balls to the wall. So I don't say to people, well, you can only have so much bandwidth, because I never approach anywhere near what I get with my hosting. So it's just something I do for the convenience of my clients. So I don't know, and maybe if any of you have had that experience where you were running out of bandwidth and being charged extra. It used to be a problem, but maybe it's still a problem for some. So that would be interesting. Phil says, Phil or Leela say that a referrer can be faked as well. So there's probably some ways around. I was going to use an example, say that if Phil Taylor was stealing bandwidth from my site, I could just put his URL in htaccess, but then I thought Phil would just figure out a way around it anyway. So there's that as well. That's one of the things too about, we've talked about that with right click. When you disable right click on a website, there's ways around it. Even people viewing a page, they can just take a screenshot and then they can crop and have the image. So a lot of the things that we're doing are, I think, that take out the biggest chunk of what's problematic. So with respect to hotlinking or bandwidth theft, most people are not going to, like the guy with the avatar that's using my monster truck picture, he's not going to sit down and think, oh, how can I fake a referrer so I can have that for my avatar? Or if there's a site that is using one of my images that's getting tons of traffic, they're not going to set up their whole one goofy page on their blog so that they can fake the referrer so that they can get that from me. So these are sort of big, broad brushstroke things that we can do to cut down on problems. Interestingly, there was one site that I looked at that was taking images and putting it on their own CDN with their own name. So that was kind of cool. That wasn't even bandwidth theft, because they were just taking the image and then serving it from their CDN. So in that sense, they were saving the bandwidth that they were stealing from me. So there's that issue. Um, Phil wants to know how young I am and how many times did you change your glasses in the stream? Yeah. Okay. I am 54, and Phil bets the number is the same. Yeah, I'm 54 today, and I have not changed it that many times. I have let me just finish that one thought, and I'll talk about my glasses. Yeah, so these are just broad brushstroke things to take care of the biggest chunk of what the problem is, if indeed it's a problem. Probably the primary issue of Hotlink Protection is not so much that they're using up too much bandwidth, although if you're using a ton of bandwidth and you're on a limited hosting package, that can affect the speed of your page coming up. So there's that issue as well. But if someone is stealing your images and using your images for their commercial benefit, they're making money off of something that you're trying to make money off of. So if you're taking product images and they just steal them, they're too lazy even to steal them and save them to their server, they just take them from you, then that's something that you want to stop and have some control over. Also, we discussed last week, I think maybe it was either Valerie or Mary that brought up that you can prove that people are stealing your bandwidth by changing the image on their site. And if you're trying to prove the ownership of content to Google, you can say, look, here, I changed the image on their site because they're stealing even my bandwidth. They won't even change the URL of their images. Then that could help too. So there's probably more practical as far as evil intentions or bad intentions by people than, I guess more bad. I think people are more bad than they are evil in a lot of things they do. But I think it's just more of those big broad brushstrokes things. Yes, and as Phil says there, the best thing is to do this. Change the image on your site to something funny. Then that funny image shows up on their site. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'd done changing that guy's monster truck to a tricycle. All right, so now let's talk about my glasses. I have, on my computer, the sound is not quite in sync with the video. I hope it's okay for you. So I have these new progressives because my prescription changed. So all the thumbnails, I took a whole bunch of pictures to use as thumbnails. They're with my black glasses. So there's no thumbnail pictures for videos with my red glasses. And I went with the red glasses because I noticed a lot of people had black glasses. One day I looked around at church. I thought, wow, black glasses are really, everybody's got them now. And I just thought, I want something that's different. So I got the red because I couldn't find orange. Of course, it would have been blended in the wall nicely. And then I have these computer glasses, which are all one prescription. And I need these. So basically, if I'm looking at the computer and I want to, at a screen, and I want to see something clear, I have to tip my head back and it just kills my neck. So I got these for the computer. And now they're all the same. They're basically the same as my prescription at the bottom of the progressives. And I can just look at the screen. Although this prescription has changed as well, of course, it's still set on my old black glasses. And so I actually cannot read with these glasses. They used to be reading glasses. I used to be able to see really clear there. Now I have to hold things back. And anyways, I'm hoping to be able to afford some new computer glasses. So that is what's up with that. Now, I may have mentioned this before, but my wife and I have tickets to go out on my birthday tonight to see somebody who is here in Victoria at a theater. Anybody want to guess? I know it's kind of vague. I will give you 3 hints. These will be so easy. You'll get who it is. Here's one. Don't mention the war. That one, I think some of you will get that right away. Who do you know, an entertainer who has used that line? Don't mention the war. That's right, John Cleese. John Cleese, months ago, Susan saw that John Cleese was coming to a theater near here, and that that was my birthday. And she says, look at that. How good is that? That's just perfect. John Cleese is in town on your birthday. So we bought tickets, yes. And I mentioned it last week. Yeah, Phil said I mentioned last week. So it's sort of like the time that I hid my wallet in plain view in front of the camera. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to go see John Cleese tonight, and that would be, that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I told you last week on Watch Me Work Wednesday. Good. I'm excited about it. I am looking forward to it. I never really did get around to showing people how to add things on htaccess. Let's just do that quick, just in case someone stuck around. Although they probably bailed on that a long time ago. Let me bring up my page here before we switch. Okay, and we'll go to here, and we'll go to basicjoomla.com, and I'll move that tab out of the way over here, and now we can switch. Okay, so in your web hosting account, go to File Manager, where you can manage your files. So in cPanel Assist, most web hosts have that, and then you go to the folder where your Joomla site is installed. And in this particular case, I have lots of Joomla sites installed, but also it's in public HTML. Scroll down, and there's my .htaccess. If you don't see any of these files that have dots in front of them, go to Settings and say that you want to see hidden files. All right. And then, anyways, you're just going to go into htaccess and right-click, and go to Edit, and then here you have at the top things that you can put, and you want to have it after Rewrite Engine on and Rewrite Engine on, and that is where you would go and you would paste your code. All right, so this is the code that we had in there before. You would just copy that, and you would paste it anywhere. That's fine, but I put my new stuff at the top. And what did we do? HTTP stealing bandwidth, yeah, another site. And if I save this, and I go back here and refresh, oh, I get an internal server error, which is why I saved it, in which case I need to find out what the problem is. Oh, I know what it is. I just pasted that line in there. I did not actually, when I duplicated this rule, I did not paste the first part of the htaccess site. So that was good to see. Hopefully no one follows that mistake earlier. All right, let's save. I hope this works. Yes, it does. So if you watch this far, make sure that you copy the whole rule and not that other mistake before. Anyways, so there you go. Yes, Phil, I'm missing the rewrite condition there. So, yeah, I think there may be a little bit of a lag on the stream today. Phil says that he saw on John Cleese at Jersey Opera House. All right, so for those who are watching, that's how you do that. Add those rules. I'm just going to take those out now. Don't need them. And save those at the Jersey Opera House. There you are. When was he there? An evening of silly things. Event details. Doesn't show when he was there, so it probably has already taken place. Were you there, Phil? Did you go see him? I wonder if your island is probably even more like my island, in the sense that Phil Taylor says, do I know what NC means in those rules? No, I do not know what NC means. So you go ahead and tell me. So Phil lives on the bailiwick of Jersey, which is a small island. What are you, about 6 miles across or something like that? I live on Vancouver Island. It is 6 hours from bottom to top. And so, but here on the island, we don't get as much stuff as you would get on the mainland, like big concerts or people coming over. Although now the southern end of the island, I think think in Greater Victoria area where I live, there's like 350,000 people. So we do get some good shows. We do get some good people, and they're small, but they're smaller venues, right? So yeah, so when someone like John Cleese comes to the island, that's pretty cool. And I imagine him going to the Bailiwick of Jersey is even cooler because it's such a smaller place. NC, what does NC mean? I could Google that, but the answer is going to get here pretty soon. Maybe Phil's Googling it right now. What is NC in htaccess? I found, okay. Oh, the NC specifies that the HTTP host is case sensitive. The escapes the dot because the special character normally dot means that one character is unspecified. Okay. NCFL. Yeah, let's go back here and look here. All right, NCFL. NCFL. I have to Google that as well. NCFL. NCFL. What does the L mean? Here's someone asking. What does the L mean? There's a reference sheet for these. L. Let's see. So you didn't read my tutorial linked from my signature, eh? It's got a list of the most common flags. The front end of the horse, however, is apache.org. I know I have an L and others there, but honestly, Phil and everybody, when I do htaccess, I am like, Google, copy, paste. Did it break my site? Is it doing what I want it to? This guy's haven't read things in his signature article in his signature. Let's see what he's got here. Who knows? Yeah, I have an L in there. I literally, it's just, like I said, copying and pasting. L. So, the, B escape C. What are we looking at? NC. Here's a lot of LMNOP. NC, no case. Use of the no case flag causes the rewrite rule. I'll place this in here for everyone to read along. Oh, Phil's like me, copies and pastes. I should tweet that out. I'm like Tim. Hashtag. Things Phil Taylor says. So NC to be matched in a case-sensitive manner. That is, it doesn't care whether letters appear as uppercase or lowercase. Yeah, so if someone typed in basicjoomla.com with a capital B, it would still work. So in the example below, any request for an image file will be proxied to your dedicated image server. The match is case-sensitive, so that .jpg and .jpg in all caps is are both acceptable. So in this rule here, in the rewrite, which I had, let's just put that back into read. No, that's not it. So in this rule here, the L is the NC is doesn't matter whether these are capitals or not, or the case does not matter. All right, cool, in that rule. Rewrite anything that's JPG, so you could have a capital J. That's a common thing. And did you know that old versions of Internet Explorer, which you should not be using anymore, cannot handle a capital? They cannot display images that have a capital J or capital JPG. It's interesting. All right, so let's go through the rest here. What's the F? What's the F? That's a pretty good link here. Let's go F. Forbidden. Using the F flag causes the server to return a 403 forbidden status code to the client. Well, that is cool. So that means by having the F here, so this rewrite rule is if this is true, send them a 403. So it's actually not, yeah, okay, so send them a 403. Excellent. What a great sources. And last, the L flag causes mod rewrite to stop processing the rule set. In most contexts, this means that if the rule matches, no further rules will be processed. Okay, and that's a speed thing. So basically, in htaccess here, if I had this here, and let's go into the file. So if I have this rule here, and of course it's still broken because I would need this here. So copy that. If I have this rule here, and the condition is true, when the L is there, everything else is skipped going down. It doesn't look down. So that's a site speed thing or an efficiency thing. So that's why in the rewrite rules down here, L, if this is true, then I don't want to process the rest. Don't go down and look at the other things, just bail. What a great resource. I like that. And of course Apache, okay. Server version 2.4. I think I will save that. Here, I'll show you what I, just a sec, let me just show you how I save some of my things. But I need to just see if you're going to see what we're going to see here. Oh yeah, it's a good thing I didn't show you that. Some banking information came up first. So let's go server. All right, so, let's see here. I got to try to bring up something with that I don't end up having to blur later. Let's try this. Basically, what I'm trying to show you is yes, htaccess is specific. Phil reminds us htaccess is specific to Apache servers only. Nginx, that's probably how that's pronounced, has its own syntax. Yes, and I don't know anything about nginx. Nginx has just in the last few months surpassed Apache in use. Well, how about that? I should probably learn something about that. What I was going to show you on the screen here. Basically, I guess I can't show you because I have so much information in this I can't bring it up. Plus, I find it a little bit confusing. What I do is I use Outlook. I use OneNote in Office 365, and so I have sections for different things. And whenever I find information that's really helpful, I just copy the URL or the information, and I will paste it in my OneNote. In my OneNote area that fits for that, and then I can I find it later by just searching htaccess, and I just kind of have it handy. It's a little bit better. I guess bookmarks work the same way on webs on browsers, but I just kind of, it's just sort of me. Just the way, in the same way that I have piles of notes here on my desk that I need to sort out that are on paper, I have piles of notes digitally. At least it's not so cluttered. What is nginx? Checking out. Okay, nginx is open source software for web serving, reverse proxying, caching, loading, balancing, media streaming, and more. It started as a web server designed for maximum performance and stability. In addition to its HTTP server capabilities, nginx can also function as a proxy server for email and reverse proxy and load balancer for HTTP, TCP, and UDP servers. At this point, I'm thinking, remember Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Anyways, so if you guys want to read up on that, interesting. That is like finding out a new language when you still don't even speak the other one that you're using. Free trial. Open source and then pricing. Price per instance pricing, enterprising. What's the cost? Oh, one of those. Ask us. We'll help you. Well, that is definitely beyond my pay grade. And there's a link. What is nginx? Yeah, nginx. I've always looked at nginx. I don't never really say nginx. It says it's free, so why? Maybe I'm missing the pricing thing there. Is that so? Or is this just through this? Oh, there's a professional version. Okay. Okay, pro version. What do we got here? To solve Igor Sisov originally wrote nginx to solve the C10K problem, a term coined in 1999 to describe the difficulty that existing web servers experience in handling large numbers, the 10K, of concurrent connections. With its event-driven asynchronous architecture, nginx revolutionized how servers operate in high-performance contexts and became the fastest web server available. So and then Phil says nginx is basically a web server on steroids. And Ivor says it's not free, but so if there's it's open source, but then there's also a pro version. So probably both right. A web server on steroids. Cool. Well, yes. That is not going to be something that I start. You know, I once thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to, and I had this old laptop, and I thought, you know, I am going to learn Linux and put Linux system on this laptop, and it is going to be super fast, and I'm just going to, because I like that special stuff. I would like to be able to say, oh, yeah, no, I use Linux on a laptop. It's super fast, and da-da-da-da-da. And so I started doing it, and then I had to go looking for something to make so I could connect to the internet. And then, of course, I had to find it, and it just brought back memories of many, many years ago in the mid-'90s. I think there's at least a month of my life lost in actual hours trying to get internal modems to work. We're talking like 1,600 baud modems. So 1,600 compared to the millions that we have now. So when I realized I was going to have to go right back to the beginning and figure all that out, I just did not have the passion for it, because my passion was getting content going and actually producing things and having things happen. And of course, now that I'm self-employed, my passion is to make enough money each month to keep us from having to sell the house and go somewhere else, or at least keep food on the table. So Ivor says he has it on one of his servers, and it's a very big boost in speed. Okay, and Phil says mysites.guru uses nginx exclusively as reverse proxy, load balancer, and web servers, all for free. Yeah, Linux years ago was painful. Yeah, and you know, I don't mind some pain, but I need gain. And when there's pain and very little gain, I just don't have time for that. Desktop Linux Ubuntu in 2019 is much easier. Okay, well, if I ever get to the point where I get all the wheels aligned on my business and things going and taking advantage of all the opportunities that I have, I hear you, Phil. I maybe play around and do whatever, who knows. But I'm not there yet. Hardware compatibility is much better now. Vinny says try the Ubuntu distribution. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. I won't rule it out, or just buy a Mac. Yes. No. Shoot myself in the other side of the head instead. And never turn back. Or Kubuntu, which uses KDE instead of GNOME. Well, I'm definitely hanging out at the coffee shop with the nerds now. Smiling politely. Just enjoying the company. Yeah, I with respect to Macs, I have helped some people with some things. I mean, it's just basic concepts. It's just figuring out. I was helping someone the other day on their iPhone, and they have, I think this is iPhone 10 that they have. I'll tell you, I was like, oh my goodness, I was just trying to get past the screen and learn the gestures and everything. That was, but it's just, it's there, it's easy. The big challenge in learning things is to not shut your brain down and think, oh, I can't learn this, because then you can't learn it. All right, so did I get good socks, cake, candles, balloons, decorations? So I have been up and at it since about 10 o'clock, really. So here's what my birthday's been so far. I slept until 9 o'clock. I had a good sleep. The fireplace that we heat our house with, the gas fireplace, which is downstairs, just on the other side of the room there, will not stay lit. It just went off yesterday, so it's kind of cool down here. I called the fireplace guy. He asked me to try to get the pilot light going again. I did that once yesterday. Took the front of the fireplace off to light it because our little sparker doesn't work, and it did stay going for about 20 minutes and then shut down. So they're coming tomorrow. So I fiddled around with that, and then I quickly got my thumbnail ready. I still have some text to fix on that, and that's all I've done today. So what will I do later on today? So I mentioned I'm going to John Cleese tonight. Probably this afternoon I'm just going to work because I need to catch up on things. And lately, one of the greatest satisfactions in my life that I get is from catching up. For instance, so yesterday I caught up on like 5 or 6 months. I realized I've never been reconciling my credit card statements for my business. So not for, at least for the last 4 or 5 months. And so then I caught up on my reconciling my bank account. So that was really good. I really want to get organized. This is an ongoing theme. So that will be enjoyable for me today to just work. I will go out. Like I said tonight, for supper we're having Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is something that I've requested because that would be really nice. And we get lots because what's better than Kentucky Fried Chicken that's fresh is Kentucky Fried Chicken that's cold out of the fridge. I've got a text from one of my kids so far today, but no, I don't think there's going to be. I've got some cards upstairs, but it's not. I'm happy to have a quiet day catching up and get out, and so it's good. I am thankful and blessed that God has let me see another birthday. So that was very, very early in my life, was very debatable whether I was going to even see my first birthday. So I appreciate my life, and I appreciate too how good my life is. And I also have to acknowledge that part of the reason that my life is good is because I am a white male. So I have benefited a lot of the privileges of that. And that is something that I think I've been reflecting on in the last number of years. Just trying to become more aware of that. Interestingly, when I went off to Bible college in 1984, so it's not that long. I mean, it's long ago for people that are, a bunch younger than me. Canada was still conducting nutrition experiments on Indian children that they had taken from their families and put in schools. So starving some or giving them less than what they needed in order to test. So So when I think about my life, I think I try not only to be grateful to God for the things that I have that many people have and that even more people don't have, but I also want to realize that some of that is there because it's been taken from other people. So, um, anyways, that's what happens when you get old. You start being real reflective on your birthday, I guess. But I couldn't think of. Susan asked me what I wanted to do today, and I couldn't think of anything that I really wanted to go out to do that was like crazy fun. I would love to go on another cruise. I think it would, be fun to go. I can think of lots of fun things to do, but you can do those things any other day as well. My wife did make it home, Phil. She got home on Thursday night I picked her up at the airport Halloween night. She got in early enough that we could go and catch up with one of our grandkids, and so we went trick or treating with her a little bit. She's just 2, so Susan carried her to a couple of doors. But there's my daughter and son-in-law, and we're there, so we caught up with them. Then we went out for a nice supper at a place down the road, and My Chosen Cafe. Anybody comes and visits me here on Vancouver Island, I'll take you to My Chosen Cafe for a really nice meal. It's the village next to us is called Machosen, which is an Indian word for stinky fish. I actually live on Machosen Road, Stinky Fish Road, but they call it My Chosen Cafe. Yeah, I saw that, Phil, that you're going to be in Florida for Christmas, and then you were in Vegas last year, so eventually you're going to make it here. I'll take you, again, people, come and visit me. I will take you to see some really big trees in our rainforest here. And lots of cool things to see here. Yes. And also over the weekend, that night I received the phone call. Really, really good friends of ours, a couple, she went to hospital for a medical problem. Her doctor had ordered an x-ray, which was unrelated to the problem, as it turns out. But it was found that she has cancer in a number of places. Again, she didn't go because of she doesn't have any symptoms from the cancer. But anyway, so that was, that was sort of occupied our mind on the weekend as well. But so Susan did make it home, and that is very nice. But I'll tell you, I often feel kind of glum when she's going away. But this time I did not dread it, and I had a plan to do some things. Last year at this time, I redid the office, I painted the walls, I got the stand-up desk and all kinds of stuff, and it was like crazy time. And when she was away at the same conference, different location, but. This year I did not do that, and so I binged watched. I caught up on Mr. D, which is a Canadian sitcom about a teacher in a high school. I caught up on the second season of The Mind Hunters, which is about the beginning of profiling in the FBI in the 70s, profiling of serial killers and murderers. So I enjoyed catching up on that, and I think there's something else. I kind of watched a few things, but anyways, that's what's happened around here. So it's a low-key birthday, but that is okay with me. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm at the point now. Whoops, what did I just do there? Okay. I'm at the point now where if there's something fun to do or something fun to get, I will probably just get it. Not around Christmas time because kids are looking for ideas for presents for me. But Susan and I don't even exchange birthday gifts or Christmas gifts anymore because we have things to do here at the house. We fix something up or something breaks or some treat that we give ourselves. And interesting, the construction out front. Last week I checked the mailbox and there was an envelope from the company that's doing the development next to us saying, we apologize for the inconvenience while we're doing the curbs and the sidewalks in front of your house. please find enclosed a gift card for $100, and this gift card is good at a number of different restaurants, restaurant chains here in Canada, and a lot of them are here in the city. So, so Susan said, "Well, you want to go out for supper on your birthday?" And I thought, well, that's a nice thing we can do anytime. I'd be happy to stay home and have Kentucky Fried Chicken and head out. Yes, Ivor, I have 4 grandchildren. I have a grandson in Toronto who is 6. I have a granddaughter up island, about an hour away, and she is 5. Then I have a granddaughter who is 2.5, and a grandson who's, I think, 1.5. So I have 4. Check email for a face bomb, but not broadcastable. Okay, I will check that. I'll check that later on, Phil. Yeah, grandkids. Yeah, I cried when my first grandson was born. It was a home birth, and we were staying with them in their apartment. And but yeah, again, just I maybe have referenced it before, but when I was 6 months old, they found that I had cancer, and they took out half of each of my kidneys, and tumor the size of a small football and a large grapefruit, and basically gave me 28 radiation treatments, but they said I'd be dead in 3 months. They only gave me 3 months to live. So that has been a reoccurring theme in my life, and so something that I was raised being thankful to be alive. And so when my grandson was born, and I was just overwhelmed with the goodness of God that I had lived to see another generation. So interesting too, because of that radiation treatment that I had as a baby, my parents signed permission for sterilization, so there was a chance that I couldn't even have kids. So just so many good things. So yes, I'm grateful to God for that. So yeah. All right. Well, anything else? Anything else? Any projects you're working on? Things you're wondering? Last week, oh boy, I don't know if it was Monday or Wednesday in the live stream. Oh, that reminds me, no live stream tomorrow. I'll tell you about that in a second. Last week, Phil gave us that teaser about being able to have other users on your mysites.guru account so that they can have access to manage only certain sites. And that feature is now live. So I went this weekend and created one user, and want to set up some sites that will make it easier for me to do tutorials and videos without showing all of my clients, and maybe just make it a little bit easier for people to see, because there's, you only need 2 or 3 sites to show that you can do things for multiple sites. You don't need huge things like that. Anyways, so that was cool. Phil says no secret from him this week. All right, well. Anyways, yeah, so check that out. And all right, yes, so tomorrow, and let's find this here. Let me go on the screen here, because I'm going to go right screen. Let's go to Facebook, because I know Mary shared it, so I can find it very easy. Let's go to Facebook. Facebook. We'll go to Mary Nevius's Facebook. There we go. There she is. And she said, oh, maybe she didn't say it there. Maybe it was in the Joomla group. Joomla, 25,000 in the Joomla group. Let's see. She was really... let's see. Well, we'll just search for it this way. Joomla Shack Conference. There we go. I posted this last week. Oh, it's fine. Conference schedule is now live. Here it is. Webby design. Oh, and it's on the Webby design page. I should have looked there too. This week's Phil says this week's feature is a day late due to being a dad. That's all right. Yeah, so Mary's on Mary's Webby design page. Let's go there. Since I mentioned her, that's Webby design. You should be at the top, right? I've been there before, but post a link to your site in there, Mary. Anyways, so Joomla Shack Conference 2019. This kind of came to be after, because of Brexit not happening, when Joomla World Conference was canceled. So on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, different speakers at different times. So why throw a Watch Me Work live stream when you have so many good things to watch? The one that will be on at the normal Watch Me Work live stream time, they don't have. They have one and two. That's 1, 2. Oh, that's 2 p.m. 1, 2, and it says 1 hour break between sessions. 4. So there isn't one on at 11 o'clock, but. Anyways, and these are all going to be on YouTube afterwards, so that will be interesting to watch. Anyways, like I said, no Watch Me Work live stream on Wednesday. Something that we haven't done for a little while is go to the Joomla extensions page. So let's go see how many new templates are posted. Yeah, there's a template there. If you're a teacher or trainer looking to drive learner engagement, regardless of which, you need to figure out why you want to make a quiz. Then consider your audience. Here's a quiz and survey tool. Let's check that out. vQuiz Pro quiz and survey tool. Create and play awe-inspiring quizzes. Trivia, simulation, personality, polls, permissive question grouping and conditional branching, dynamic result and certificate with default templates. So this looks like for doing some courses or doing a quiz. Get notified of every bit of action, interactive leaderboard and keen eye progress tracker. They're very interesting. So another extension for making doing quizzes, and the price is $89. Interesting. All right, there's a new extension to check out. Is there anyone using Gma SMS? Don't know that. nginx competition. That's a really good competition extension. I did a video on that. New extension out on that. Can I build a web application by Joomla? So someone asking a question. There's someone, Joseph Uzugbu. Sorry for mispronouncing that. I've chatted with this guy before, so a sample of a website cover to see how it looks. I'm not quite sure what he means there. Easy Services Booking 1.1.3 from Joom Boost, a maintenance release. Someone asking about there. Here's Google Business Reviews. We've looked at that before. Oh, now we're back into October, so we've seen all those before. Shared a link on my timeline. Oh, look at that. I thought maybe Mary was sharing a Joomla link, but there you go. Thank you, Mary. All right, everybody. Well, I have one more thing to try with my fireplace here to troubleshoot maybe what the problem is. And if I might get some heat going for a little while. But otherwise, I think that's a good place to wrap it up for today. So thank you very much for joining me on my birthday and for your birthday wishes and for hanging out. I will miss you on Wednesday. Hey, new version of Joomla coming out tomorrow. And so I probably will live stream and show that. So I will be on. I don't know if I'll be hanging out this much, but we will see. Maybe the fireplace guy will be here fixing things too. I don't know. But we will go from we'll go from there. Anyways, so everyone, thank you, like I said, for hanging out today. I hope that you're having a great day. I'm having a great day. And whatever you're working on. And until the next time I see you, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.